women than in young women. But that completely flips the script of what we are sort of taught to find attractive, which is youth, particularly in women. And I just think that that is very interesting.
I think that's very interesting as well. And I think also being able to see myself represented in the porn that I want
Yeah.
to watch, and so obviously I'm going to look for the list of words that I look up to search are obviously going to be like at least reflecting myself in some way, or, how I would see myself in different situations.
Yeah.
That may mean that I have to type in the word MILF. Maybe in a live episode somewhere in the near future, we'll tell you what our Pornhub recipes are.
Oh my God. We'll have to get drunk before that one.
Yeah, we're gonna like get drunk on camera and talk about, answer your questions and do all that stuff. And
someday soon when we're both vaccinated and we can hang out again.
Yeah. I mean,
by the way, everybody, Lenny is fully vaccinated as of this recording.
I'm fully vaccinated. Woo! Heck yeah, I am.
You're, like 2 weeks away from going out and living your best life, still safely and with a mask on.
And I made it through both of them. I got a little sick on the second one, but guess what? I'm still standing. Woo! Okay, I sang. I did it.
Thank you.
That happened.
The fans are gonna lose it. They're gonna be so excited.
Okay, where were we? Oh, we're talking about the cougar and the MILF.
The MILF.
In like not porn though, on regular TV, these two, like the cougar and the MILF, like portray negative aspects of women. They reinforce the concept of most older persons as asexual because they are hypersexualized and there's no in between.
Right, true.
When I think about myself, I don't think about myself as a MILF or a cougar, but as a power-hungry bitch trying to hang on to her youth at all costs, usually at the expense of the fresh up-and-coming young woman protagonist. Yeah. Actually, that's my that's my Pornhub search recipe. I just typed that in.
Oh, I thought it was your LinkedIn profile.
It's all of the above. It's my dating profile. Yeah, it's everything.
Oh God, those couples looking to bring in a third are probably just drooling over you. That's like the role play scenarios are endless.
Well, that one's mine. But I mean, that is like, that's the other one that we see in films is like the power hungry bitch. Like think of Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada.
Right.
Like that's all about like the young up and coming person coming into and this other woman trying to hold on to her job and feeling that she has to.
Right. Oh, and that's a whole other aspect of ageism is, employment opportunities and the way that older people can't get hired because they are older. And I think especially women, because there's this weird double standard where like up to a certain point, older men are very much considered, they get the silver fox label, they get the dignified label, and they get the experienced label. And so like, if you're hiring an older man in a management or upper management position, you know that you're getting your money's worth because he knows what he's doing and he's been around. And when it comes to women, it's like the exact opposite. It's like, oh, why is she looking for a job? Like, oh, she must be desperate. Ew.
Yeah, so, it is. It's messed up. And not only that, but like older people are underrepresented in like film and advertisements. Like they just stop appearing in film at a certain age. Or like I see a lot of old people makeups these days. Like a lot of just hire old people to act in the
and it never works. Film. It never looks right ever.
Yeah. Except on Mrs. Us. They do a really, really good job.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But when they do appear in these, they're typically like peripheral or grouped with others in a specific context. But there was like one commercial. Yeah. With their grandkids at the park, buying
Laughing.
insurance and
Oh, laughing. So much
and
laughing.
taking medication and laughing and buying
Yeah.
insurance. Yeah,
And eating
all of
yogurt
those things. That's
for their bowels.
yeah.
I think that's
But
what
this
old
is
people
like
do, right? They buy insurance and they talk about their bowels. That's pretty much it. And their
I mean,
grandkids.
I do talk about like buying insurance and eating more fiber like all the time. So, I mean,
We're
but
practicing. We're
I
almost
have for
ready.
like 10 years. I have since my 20s. So I think it's but the thing is like there was like this commercial that I really loved that I wanted to like just bring up really quick.
Okay.
It was a Reese's peanut butter cup commercial, and it
Mm.
featured like this old man and this old woman, and the old man's like eating the edges off of his peanut butter cup, and the old woman's like all disgusted, and she's like looking over at him, and she's like nibble, nibble, nibble. That's all he ever does. And the old man's like, "You're next, my dear," and she's like, "Oh!" And the commercial, like people went crazy and were like, "What? That's so what they can." They're dirty old man and dirty old lady, and the fact that it made as big of a splash that it did, like, is totally like representative of like how little we see this kind of interaction
Mm-hmm.
and how much more we need to see it because that was fucking delightful.
That's great. Oh my God. I haven't seen it, but I want to. I'll have to find it after this. That's so cute.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Okay, so I want to talk about Aunt May and Spider-Man.
Ooh, yeah, okay. That is a really
Okay.
good thing to talk about. Yes.
So, I feel like Aunt May shows how disconnected we can be when it comes to age. Because when you think that Aunt May is Spider-Man's aunt, I have kids that are the age of Spider-Man, and so it seems likely that Aunt May would be my sister and would be around the same age as I am. Like, that's
Wow,
just like
yeah.
logically. So we have like the super old Aunt May in the early 2000s Spider-Man series. She is Rosemary Harris, by the way, who is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And Melissa Tomei, who
Yeah.
is the Tom Holland Spider-Man's aunt. I would date both of them today, right now. If either of you want to go out with me, this is me asking Rosemary Harris and Melissa Tomei to go out with me. But
At once,
I'm
please.
just saying, like, the age difference for those Aunt Mays is like
Massive, yeah.
proof of like how disconnected like the media, the casting people can be when it comes to like I know that Aunt May's supposed to be an old lady because of the comic books, so don't
Right.
get on me about that. But
We do know
also
about comic books, I
that,
swear.
yeah, but that is, I mean, but like, and that they wanted to stay true to that, but that was like not quite right when it came to like what Aunt May should look like as an
Right.
aunt, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe you could make an argument that maybe she's great Aunt May, but we just don't call her that because it's awkward. But yeah, I don't think that's what they were going for. Yeah, it's
Um,
wild. And then like there's like the whole running joke in the new Spider-Man movies that Aunt May is hot, and it's like so unexpected, and it keeps coming up in the new Spider-Man movies, and it's like, yes, we get it. Oh God, she's an aunt. How could she be attractive?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Weird.
And again, we see that like implication of how youth and beauty are supposed to be tied to like sexuality, whether that be like her sexuality or how sexually like attractive that she is to society.
Mhm.
And I think that because none of those things should be tied together at
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
um, that we need to think about that when we cast people into these roles in the future.
Well, I mean, it really all comes back to, I feel like the other way that ageism really benefits colonization, colonizers, and patriarchy, and all of the power systems that currently exist, which is by tying a woman's attractiveness and value to her reproductive capacity.
Yes.
Because, like, this is a weird fact that I think I knew before, but I hadn't really put into context until the research I was doing it for this episode today, which is the fact that, like, we tend to be conditioned into thinking that women are most attractive when they are very young, like early to mid, possibly into late 20s is kind of like, as far as Hollywood and, most media is concerned, that's when women are attractive, right? And going back into earlier times in especially European culture, you could go a lot younger than we do now. We just don't anymore because it's not legal. They used to marry, like, especially nobility and royalty. They married those girls off when they were like 14, sometimes younger. So that's kind of where we're coming from, culturally speaking. And 20s, like mid 20s, is when women are at their peak of fertility, medically speaking, right? But and again, I'm talking about cisgender women here. I'm sorry for making it narrow, but generally speaking, cisgender women's sex drives go up after their fertility starts to go down. So that doesn't apply to everybody in all situations, but overall, women tend to be hornier as they are getting less fertile up until menopause. So, like, there's a very weird thing going on here, and I may be implying
weird at all,
right? Like, I'm basically implying that like we don't want women to enjoy their sexual bodies. We want them to make babies for us.
I'm gonna gay it up a little bit here. I don't think that it's weird at all. Look at Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor. Holland Taylor is Sarah Paulson's wife. What? You don't know who? Do you know who either of them are?
No.
Oh my God!
What rock am I under this time?
Sarah Paulson is in Ratched and in American Horror Story and is fabulous and amazing.
Okay,
and
I have not watched those shows, but I can get the mental image of what she looks like. Got it.
Yeah. Yes. She's married to Holland Taylor, who is also fabulous and amazing. But like everyone focuses on the age difference between Sarah and Holland. And Sarah said that the fixation that society has on her and her wife is due to the obsession of like avoiding their own mentality, as well as society's quote ageist thinking and the idea that to be old is to cease to have any desire.
Right.
And so she says like that most of the attention is largely positive, and when she does hear anything negative, she has zero tolerance for it. And she also, a quote, says that anyone says anything about a person I love in a way that is disrespectful or cruel, and I want to cut a bitch.
I like that.
Me too. What she's doing is she's breaking down this idea that we can only love a certain kind of person, and really shows what we've been saying through this entire episode, that the rules are made up.
Right.
And that's not to say someone who is adamant on upholding those rules don't go out and hurt people who step outside that box. But remembering that we can love, I could easily fall in love with somebody who's like 75 years old right now. And guess what? That would be perfectly okay. And everything could be fabulous, or that could be great.
I mean, one of the really interesting things that you can clearly see when you look at like the category of cougar versus its mirror, like cougar being, generally speaking, an older woman with a younger partner, and the opposite of that being, an older man, usually with a younger woman. And the way that we see those dynamics so differently culturally, like if a younger woman, marries or is in a relationship with an older man, we usually see him as inherently taking advantage of her youth and beauty, and she inherently taking advantage of his implied wealth, right? Like gold digger. That's what we tend to see. But when you reverse that script and you have an older woman with a younger partner, you don't